Seeds of Wisdom RV and Economics Updates Thursday morning, November 13, 25. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Good morning. Dinar recaps. Global diplomacy recalibrates as G7 foreign ministers convene amid rising trade and security tensions. Overview. Dinar investment insights. Top diplomats from the G7 and invited partners met in Canada, aiming to coordinate responses to the Russia-Ukraine war and the Israel-Hamas conflict, while trade friction rises with the U.S. Trade and defense dominate the agenda, with host Canada signaling that allied relationships are being tested by evolving priorities and bilateral pressure. Invited emerging powers attend: Australia, Brazil, India, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, South Korea, South Africa and Ukraine, indicating a broader coalition approach to security trade diplomacy beyond the traditional G7 framework. Key developments. Security first. The Canadian foreign minister emphasized putting the safety and security of Americans first, signaling a shift toward national-centric wording even within alliances. Trade dispute overlay. Amid the discussions on geopolitics, there is underlying tension between the U.S. and its G7 partners over trade and defense spending commitments. Broader invite list. The presence of non-G7 nations marks a tactical move toward wider multilateralism and highlights the multipolar nature of today's diplomacy. Why it matters. This meeting signals a reshaping of diplomatic architecture. The traditional G7 bloc is adapting to include emerging powers, aligning trade, security and diplomacy under one umbrella. For the global reset, it marks a step away from Cold War-style alliances toward flexible coalitions tied to economic and strategic interests. Implications for the global reset. Pillar 1. Geopolitical realignment. The inclusion of emerging powers in a G7-hosted security forum indicates shifting power dynamics and a dilution of Western exclusive frameworks. Pillar 2. Financial and trade integration. The overlap of trade disputes and defense agendas shows that economic policy is now inseparable from strategic alliances, reinforcing the finance diplomacy fusion of this reset. U.S. stock markets rally as optimism grows over government reopening and Fed outlook. Overview. Major U.S. equity indexes climbed on optimism that the longest federal government shutdown will soon end and provide clarity on economic data and central bank policy. Policy watchers highlight that reopening will restore data flow, which in turn will inform the Federal Reserve's next moves on interest rates and support measures. Broader market sentiment improved, with gains in transport and industrial names signaling investor belief in a rebound from the shutdown-induced drag. Key developments. Dow Jones Industrial Average rose about 1.2% as investors anticipated the reopening of the economy and better earnings visibility. The shutdown's impact on data release had clouded the Fed's visibility into the economy. Its resolution is seen as removing a key risk factor. Semiconductor and tech sectors remained volatile, with one major chipmaker seeing a large stake sold by an investor, a reminder the rally is not without underlying fragility. Why it matters. Markets often lead structural shifts, and this rally underscores how political economic mechanics, shutdown, policy clarity, intertwine with global finance. The pivot from disruption to normalization in the U.S. has ripple effects on capital flows, risk pricing and global investor behavior. Implications for the global reset. Pillar 3. Market and capital flow reorientation. A renewed U.S. data regime and clearer Fed guidance will reshape global allocation decisions, reinforcing the reset in how capital flows across borders. Pillar 4. Risk perception and safe haven realignment. As U.S. political risk recedes, investor focus may shift back to structural vulnerabilities elsewhere, emerging markets, supply chain stress, altering global risk maps. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com blog and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: dinarrecaps.com